People always say, well, we'll get to that, so I can't complete this point. Why can't I complete this point? And people say, well, we'll get to that, we'll get to the vaccine rollout. But then we had the freedom,
yes,
because of the particular model of Brexit that I had fought for. We had the freedom to vaccinate faster than anybody else. And that saved lives. And the idea that Brexit saved lives is one that I think people will find infuriating, exasperating, but it's true. And it's there at the heart of the story.
It's an absolutely disgraceful thing for the former Prime Minister to say. It's completely untrue, and it went completely unchallenged. As I've said many times, EU legislation enacted into British law already allowed countries to temporarily authorise vaccines without waiting for approval from the European Medicines Agency. In fact, the UK government always made it clear that it could authorise vaccines unilaterally under European law before we left the EU. Don't just take my word for it. Here is the actual head of the UK's Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, June Rain.
We appear to be getting authorisation for this vaccine ahead of our friends in Europe. I was just wondering, does the fact that the UK is no longer part of the EU, did that make any difference to the speed with which you were able to complete your authorisation?
We have been able to authorise the supply of this vaccine using provisions under European law which exist until the 1st of January.
During the interview, Johnson was given the opportunity to repeat the claim, again completely unchallenged.
We'd had 3 years of paralysis over Brexit. I got that done conclusively with the right model. I then was able to deliver the fastest vaccine rollout in Europe. So, I think helping to save lives, validating the type of Brexit that we had.
And it's not as if the interviewer didn't know what the former Prime Minister said wasn't true. Just watch this clip of an interview with a minister in the last government.
You say, I'm proud to have got Brexit done. I now look forward to the future to build a truly global Britain. What are the 3 best achievements since getting Brexit done, would you say, Minister? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Well, I'd say from the start, the biggest impact we've seen over the last couple of years is probably the Britain's ability to fulfil its own vaccine programme.
Well, you'll be aware, of course, the independent website Full Facts say that's not true, and even the boss of our own MHRA, Dr. June Rain, has also said that's not true. So,
but we could have done
strike that one out?
You're absolutely right.
Johnson was then allowed to make the claim a 3rd time, again completely unchallenged.
Now, in case I've neglected to mention it so far in this interview, Nick, don't forget that by March 2021, because of the speed with which we licensed those vaccines, brackets because of Brexit, we were able to vaccinate 45% of the adult population, almost, I think, getting on for 100% of those over 80 or 90. In the EU, they'd only done 10%. Right. And people forget that. But Brexit saved lives.
Right.
So again, for everyone's benefit, here is the independent fact-checker Full Fact. Under European law, the UK was permitted to act independently to approve the vaccine in an emergency. And here is Channel 4 Fact Check. As a UK government press release from 23rd of November 2020 states, if a suitable COVID-19 vaccine candidate becomes available before the end of the transition period, EU legislation which we have implemented via Regulation 174 of the Human Medicines Regulations allows the MHRA to temporarily authorise the supply of a medicine or vaccine based on public health need. So even if we were still a member of the EU, the UK regulator would have been able to take this decision on its own because EU law already allows it. We simply cannot allow those previously empowered to just rewrite history.